All right. All right, you're just gonna see the magic. Who dat? Who dat? All right. Hey, thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Yeah, we're live. Settle in. Get yourself a beverage. I got my beverage here, sort of. And what you're looking at right now is a webcam pointing at a monitor, because that's where 2020 is at as far as technology. It's getting worse, not better. Oh my God. Okay. Hello, everybody. You are looking at an infinite. Whoa, I'm reaching into the hole. That's all super dumb. So let's go on over here. Let me just scoot this over here. There we go. No, not you. You. There we go. Okay. There we go. Now I can see what you guys are saying. Unfortunately, you guys also have to watch what you're saying. So you're going to see. Anyways, I hope you can see that. Hello, everybody. Jewel Buddy Hankering Fernail here. Just putting out, we're going to do some drawing tonight for a commission project. It's going to be, hopefully it'll be pretty good. Kind of totally lost my mood for doing this because the internet is goddamn horrible these days. So if you have a way to write a letter to YouTube, just tell them they're stinking absolutely dismal. The overall, the experience for live streaming is about 10 times worse than it was 5 years ago. So why that is, I don't know, but as we were just discussing on the Runehammer Discord, the internet is absolutely decaying and not improving these days. It's really getting to be just a mess of bad software design decisions that are all cascading. Okay, so hello guys. I just want to get as much window space as I can there. I don't think I can crush my palette over here anymore. So this is as much space as I'm going to get. I got a gray backdrop, kind of matches my Photoshop window there, so don't be too confused. But check that out. So if you can see the canvas there, there's my canvas. That is a 4-panel DM screen. So I have to, holy moly. Yeah, Patrick, I think you might be right. It's a little bit of a cheesy refrain, right? To keep blaming corporate greed for the decay of everything we hold dear. But and yet, okay, so for today's work, my job is a really cool commission project from a man, George, and he wants me to do a 4-panel DM screen. This is a full-sized like drive-through RPG DM screen with some of the classic sort of big-time monsters from D&D. Behind these characters, he wants sort of Vecna as this kind of puppet master. So I wanted to both, do a drawing stream with y'all, hang out and whatnot, put up a video, and we can chit-chat along the way. I need some tunes if I'm going to survive. So I just got to go to good old right up in here. Y'all know what that's about. There we go. Back to Poto Chop. So you guys are just like watching my monitor, which is just wretched, but that's how it's going to be. Okay, cool. Hey, Chris, what up? Rancor Prime. Keith, how you doing, bro? Okay, so I need to do Vecna with these really wide arms. And I kind of lost my groove a little bit. I really felt like I had a sort of visual concept, but I'm struggling to find any way to practically and simply live stream screen share, which you would think that's something we had pretty much figured out in 2015. But apparently now you need to pay as much as cable to do that. So I'm losing my faith in the internet, in the way that I have been learning and using it. But anyways, you guys know that I always try to live by, what I preach. And I often preach about showing up for, I hope you guys can hear me okay, by the way. Just sort of showing up for the creative life, rather than waiting for ideal conditions. So, yeah, I hope y'all can hear me okay. I'm kind of like sitting next to my webcam. I don't know if that's good or bad. So here's my layer upon which I'm going to do this. Now I know that Vecna is this kind of character. And, this is very basic here, right? This is just like, well, that could be a freaking mannequin. That could be anybody. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly try to get the basics figured out and then start to Vecnify this sort of large. And remember, he's like the backdrop of this scene. So we need to kind of keep in mind there's going to be some stuff here. Yeah, Patrick C. on the YouTube ad. I don't know what the hell crack they are smoking at YouTube, but the ads have completely flew out of control. So I'll be demonetizing all my videos from here on out. I'm even going to go back and demonetize a bunch of my videos. I'd rather have people have a good experience than get YouTube's paltry ad cut that they give you, which is like 0.000%. No, Tyler, I don't. I live in Philly, PA, bro. All right. So, yeah, anyways, let's try not to focus on the negative of how crappy YouTube, and I knew that the time would come because you're kind of investing your business into a service that you don't control. And that can be pretty sketch town, but we have arrived there, my friends. Okay. So let's not fixate too much on how much YouTube sucks, but instead let's get into this piece. Okay. There's plenty of negativity in this world. We just got to be positive. You know what I mean? Mando man. He's a Mandalorian. He said Grogu from the Empire. Okay. Mando man. So I know that Vecna is a lich, and so I can make some assumptions about this character. He's a skeletal, kind of zombie-like character. We're going to Vecnify him. I'm not going to come back to Seattle. Mike, I appreciate the invite. I'm really enjoying meeting a completely different culture out here and taking a big adventure, and I recommend that a lot more people try it than currently do. A lot of people kind of chill in the spot they came up, which I guess there's some appeal to that too. But man, is it fun to meet new groups of people from quite different cultural sort of norms. It's really good for the head. I'm trying to keep an eye on the comments, but I kind of going to slow down in my drawing if I look too much. This is, as you can see, I'm using, a Mac with a Cintiq. Hey, Nat, thank you, dude. Appreciate that. Okay. So yeah, I can't get too into the comments. It's always awesome talking to y'all. But I got to focus on this piece. All right, let's do this piece. So another thing that I'm focusing on tonight is I kind of want to flip my style a little bit, and I want to loosen up. I don't want it to look like a sketch, like I'm sort of losing my, ability to get like a finished look, because this is a DM screen, right? So you got players, a lot of times they're kind of thinking about their next move and kind of staring into the DM screen. You guys probably have seen that kind of behavior. They kind of look through it, 1,000-yard stare. So you want to have a really detailed piece of art that's worth looking at for a prolonged time. But I want to really sort of loosen up a little bit. And by loose, I mean let my early pen strokes mix with my final pen strokes. So that's going to start by just embracing this sort of sloppy, crazy ink of just using a black pen right away and just playing, you know, just relax. You know, I think like that's too big of a jaw for Vecna and stuff like that. So I'm just slowly working into details that I feel confident I can make them look cooler and cooler. And then all this little line work in time will be what I call an eye massage. It's something where you can really stare at it and kind of see lots of little tidbits, kind of like staring at a landscape where you see all these new little rocks and grasses. Mark Lewis, my PA group is different. They're definitely more sort of a little more casual than what I was used to. But it's just my first group here, so you know, there's no telling what's going to happen as time goes on and as things change. They've been awesome though too. I mean, as long story short, we've had some really crazy exploits, but we've also done 21 sessions in under a year, which to me is a little bit fast as far as like DM energy goes. So we're on a bit of a break right now. I'm kind of a little cooked on roll 22, so I'm trying to just let the group chill rather than getting frustrated about it and kind of calling it off. You know, which can happen if you get a little cooked on a story moving too quickly, or maybe you're a little cooked on the prep, or maybe the group isn't taking the bait on some of your ideas in a way. And so I think it's always better to just kind of chill it off and keep the love strong rather than get frustrated. Yeah, and it always takes time to find the peoples that are like your people. Sorry if I'm bumping that. I'm doing my best here. Okay, so let's get in a little bit. Let's get in. And you guys are just a couple feet away too, so I got to remember I can't be too far out when I'm doing everything. But hey, welcome everybody. Thanks for hanging out. I'm just sort of, right now, I'm just letting my hand go where my hand wants to go. And absolutely essential skill if you want to do a lot of drawing, or like, you know, get into drawing professionally maybe. A big deal is to learn to let your hand draw rather than your mind, because your mind is really quite bad at drawing. Okay, now I also have this little thingy right here. So this is my requirement. This is my reminder of like what Vecna is all about. Right, so he's missing an eye, left humerus, right hand. So that's something I'm more interested in. So that's right hand would be over here on the left side of the canvas. So let's kind of get a sense for where that might be. So that's where his hand would be. So instead we've got this kind of ulna and radius that just kind of end here, and he's going to be like this. But there's a suggestion in my commission too that maybe those are sort of spectral versions in place. So if you guys ever see me doing like line sets where you're not quite sure what I'm doing, those line sets are something that my hand wants that my mind's going to have to reconcile later. And I guess you could call me out a little bit and say that like sort of my hand is just another word for like my artistic experience and my visual language, whatever. But it's definitely not the sort of thinking part of the brain. It's kind of the brain that kind of says like there's going to be random shapes, and then I have to adapt to what those could be. Mark Lewis, no. No. The Hand of Vecna is a legend and a piece of D&D lore that vastly outages Joe Manganiello and Arcane and all that. Please no. We must never mistake the current era for the totality of the world we've all invested in. Oh man, Mesmerit. I'm gonna put it out there right now. Mando is my favorite TV show of all time. Period. It is my favorite show ever made. I watch every episode twice, and even then, I haven't gotten enough. It's absolutely fucking brilliant. Anyway, okay, so right now, you can see I'm trying to like promote him. Are you getting that vibe? Because that's like where I'm coming from. I'm trying to say, okay, Vecna isn't just a skeleton. Vecna is the lord of all skeletons. Like, this is the supreme lich in the mythos that I'm familiar with of D&D. So right now you can see I'm just doing some little bit of repairs on the sort of scale of his face, which so far I don't like. Usually I'll do better if I repair things with ink rather than with like tools. I hate using lassos and stuff to like move things and fix things and repair things. I really just like working with like ink and an eraser. That's like a more classic kind of flow that keeps you scribbling, you know, rather than like critiquing yourself. I'm also a big believer in separating your drafting process versus your finishing process. So when you're drafting, you just get to play. You don't have to judge how good you're doing. Just have a good time. If something gets a little boring, just kind of move away from it and stuff. Like, that's what drafting's all about. And especially in writing, that's a big deal. And hey, yeah, everybody, if I don't see your comment, sorry about that. I'm just I'm busy making a living over here. And you know, I know that some people think I'm a chump or whatever because I do a lot of commission artwork. I do a lot every month for sure, but I don't know what planet they're on that they think that makes me a chump. I've been aspiring basically my entire life to be a professional illustrator. So to be paying rent on illustrating is freaking fantastic. So I'm sorry if some people are grumpy because I don't live on YouTube a lot, but I really do a lot of commission work. That is not a myth. I generally hide most of it because I like to leave it to my clients, my commissioners, to reveal it since they pay for it. So, you know, it's a little more private way of life than YouTube, but I don't think that's bad. I think that the idea of everyone broadcasting their existence is losing momentum. I think things like the social dilemma and other things have been showing us, like, you know, doing is better than broadcasting and hitting the like button and stuff. Ironic that I'm saying that on a YouTube live stream right now. That irony doesn't escape me. I'm just ignoring that irony. Okay, here we go. So he's got some kind of freaky ass collar thing going on here, like a sort of a pharaoh or something, right? He's died, you know. Maybe he only died once, but he's been brought back hundreds of times. He's this weary, he no longer even remembers being human. All he remembers is malice, and he's probably avenging some wrongdoing that everyone has forgotten. I think he has this sort of almost crown-like, like we basically are trying to illustrate the ultimate lich, the lord of the skeletons, the sort of the lord of dust, if you will. So I don't know why, but I'm looking for some designs on these kind of decorative chess pieces. And usually if I can get one decorative line, I'll repeat it everywhere, but that first line is difficult for me. Hey, Buko, what up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Like, there you go. That's a great one. So then over here, I need to go boink, 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 and then toop, and I've got a clone for it. And then I can start sort of imitating that. So it's a kink with a circle and then a circle beneath. See, and then you can get this, and like, I guess you could call it a motif. Boop, boop. And you just sort of have fun with it in different places. So when we get into more of his body, we can play. But this is the look we're looking at. You're probably going to see some ugly stuff right about now. Yeah, here you go. Somebody's going to freeze that video and like look at my, I think I called it Vecna. Vecna screen. You see that right there? Okay. So I think for this too, for this kind of campfire effect I was talking about, like something that players can stare at while they play. I think like some deep-tailed hatching is going to work in my favor. So I'm going to work on some hatching, and this definitely isn't the final sort of phase where I just like do hatching for a while, but this gets me in that mood. Hatching is definitely so labor intensive that it is a bit of a mood. It's like you just kind of go there. Okay, so we're going to have some of this kind of stuff going on, and then we'll integrate color, and we'll do all kinds of fun. But for now, we're just going to keep drawing. There's this sort of motif feeling. There's always a half disc with a line coming around it, right? Also, if you guys hear alerts or dings or anything from me getting like Discord messages or texts or something, sorry about that, but there's always a lot happening. Giving you infinite screen. Oh, hey, everybody. Wow, 142 chuckleheads hanging out tonight. Happy Saturday, everybody. Bunch of nut jobs. So here I am working on this sort of Vecna concept. And it's just at its very beginning. So there's a long way to go. So here's the missing hand. And you guys actually see probably these. I should quit this. There we go. Okay. I don't want to get any. I'll just leave that alone. Okay. Here we go. There we got the bones of his mutilated arm. Vecna doesn't have a home. He just wants to do people harm because he's a lich. He's a lich and he's rich because he stole your golden goose. How do you work out lights and volumes when you're doing line work? I don't. Oh, yeah, I just go by feel, Max. I know that is not educational as far as an answer goes, and I'm sorry. But here, let's play with that idea. So let's go back up to the head, which is the easiest part, right? So I guess, yeah, I'm probably assuming there's a light source right here. And so, like I could get into the temple. The temple has a shadow there. And then that shadow kind of bleeds onto the brow. The supraorbital torus, as it is known. Come around the zygomatic here. And then the shadow under the zygomatic is going to be strong. Whereas over here, this is where our light source is. And so we can see some little like remnant tendons. The temple is bright. Right? The brow is bright. There's no shadows on the brow. So that's about the extent of where I put my head with it. I'm really absolutely horrible with any traditional art skills like lighting. I don't really think in those terms. I tend to just think based on my own sort of visual language that I've developed over the years. And that's just where I dwell. And I've been lucky enough that people find it interesting. So I can kind of keep going and keep learning. But man, like doing things like the way you're supposed to do things, oh God, I'm so bad. So bad. Like if you look at people that can actually draw, it's crazy. Like they can draw things that actually look like what they're drawing. It's nuts. Okay, so here we go. Doing some little sort of dimples above the teeth, get the teeth feeling sort of real. Sometimes big teeth can make things feel kind of cartoony, whereas small teeth can make things look scary. Hey, Hunter, thanks for the beer money, bruh. I'm not drinking tonight, though. I've had food poisoning for the last 24 hours. 36 hours, something like that. I'm deceased. So I am not drinking tonight. I got me some bad General Tso's chicken, yo. Got me some bad chicken. Went down hard. Okay, cool. So you see, that's just like some detail work that we got into the face. Thanks, Ignacio. I'm working on it. So I want him to be looking up because puppet masters always have this kind of looking up sort of, oh, kind of thing. I think for him to look a little more legendary, how can we do this? See, this is my entire screen. So he's not going to be like a simple puppet master in terms of like being above everything because this aspect ratio is so crazy. I think what he needs to do is have some crazy extreme perspective with his arms. So he's basically like this. And again, just when I'm zoomed out, I use a bigger pen. When I'm zoomed in, I use a smaller one. And that's just how you kind of keep your change in detail feeling up to par, I suppose. So you see what I'm doing with like extreme perspective? Jorge, what are you doing throwing 40 bones into the bucket, man? Are you crazy? Was Vecna power? Oh, yo, Deep Quantus, just get on Wikipedia and look up Vecna, will you? Do that work. Do that work for me. Do that work. Woo! Okay, so there's that extreme perspective I was thinking of. So this is going to make him a background. He's not just going to be a character. Yeah, man, in COVID days, $40 is no small sum. Thank you, Jorge. You know, me just like everybody out there on the planet Earth right now, we have had our struggles in our household with trying to stay afloat in all this craziness. So really appreciate it. We all got to stick together these days, I'll tell you what. So I like these little mess lines that are inside. I don't want to get rid of them. Yeah, like a stage design is a great example of this kind of thinking. Like an Iron Maiden stage. That finger just wasn't behind the other fingers enough. Okay, so something like that. No, I liked it better. The pinky goes out when you're like on a power trip, right? Now I'm going to be a little bit cheap because I don't want to like be taking ages. Remember, this is a commission. I need to do things as quickly as possible to save my customer their hard-earned cash. So I just do this. I just clone the arms. And this is also going to give you that look, you know, like a heavy metal kind of look. Okay, so we're going to get there. We'll get the symmetry on point, get rid of these guidelines. There we go. Now, Vecna does not have a right hand. So this hand needs to be like sort of spectral or ghostly. I'm probably not going to work on that quite yet, but we're just going to make ourselves a little mental note this way. So there's like our ghost language. I also think that this bone is missing. Remember, I always keep my little notes on hand as a layer here. His left humerus, right eye, and his spine are what's missing. So instead of this spine, we'll do a floating thing. But so this piece of his body's missing. So we go like that. Then his right eye, which this is a skeleton. So let's go in and put the left eye in instead of deleting that socket. Yeah, totally. Half elf. Doing that work. Oh, you know, we should probably do some of the ears too. You should probably have the ears. So they're just using an eraser to cut an eye orb out of that socket. And there we go. See, he's got that eye in there. Oh, shit. That made him a lot more alive. Look at that. Woo! Now here's where you got to be really careful with the personality of a character, because like pupils tell all kinds of stories about what a character is, whether you want them to or not. I don't know what Papa Emeritus Infinities is. I don't. That sounds like Warhammer 40K talk to me. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, this. I just have to fix this because it's driving me a little crazy. There we go. I just felt like his head was just too thick. So now I got to fix all these kind of little lines and keep that line energy that I established. Do not want to lose that line energy. That is like that is what I'm banking this piece on, is this line energy. See, now it told a little bit too kind of a story in the pupil. He's a little bit too kind. Give him a smaller pupil. Thank you, sir. Please give me a chance to do things before you tell me to do the exact thing I'm about to do. Okay, and then I'm going to lift the pupil up so he's looking up. Like that. There we go. And then he probably needs a little more anger. And then we're going to lift this up. He's like looking into the heavens. Oh, yeah, he's like looking up at some source of power up there. Yeah, anti-grav's that feeling. It's his left hand, not his right. What? Says left humerus, right hand, right eye, and spine. It does remind me of Creepshow. Hell yeah. I want to work on this. I'm just having fun playing with this head for right now. You know, let's not worry about which hand it is because the piece can always be flipped. So let's just kind of let the right brain keep working so the left brain doesn't take over. The left brain can be very, very bossy. And the left brain also likes things to not get done because it prefers to analyze things ad infinitum. And when things are done, there's no point analyzing them anymore. So the left brain is your ultimate enemy when doing art. This is a little too human, so I might. There, I like that better. Tell you, that pupil just tells so many stories. Really got to be careful with that. Because I don't want him to get too human. You want to hate this guy when you see him. He's just like, should be grotesque, greedy, outdated. Okay. Absolutely, people are more creative when they're tired. I don't think that's even a controversial point of view. There you're getting that eye massage. You see how your eyes zero in on that crown? And you're like, what are those, cattails? Are those leaves? What are those? And then you kind of can feel it. Christopher Zach, no, you can't buy it. It is a commission. I had a overly lengthy intro about my commission stuff. So I am just cruising along now. The right brain says just accept this gray color, so I'm going to start tracing it. As if I meant to do all this. Implied intention is a great way to harness the chaos of the right brain. And then sort of bring this color in, and we're going to start playing with this color. And really, this is the first hint that color is going to enter the piece right there. Once we break that rule there, then the color kind of enters. And there's probably a lot of you, especially if you're Photoshop users, who are cringing that I'm just drawing my line art and doing my color and everything on the same layer. Well, that's how I roll. I really don't like to worry about, you know, a future where I'm going to need to do something. Now, that said, you know, sure, I'll use a layer. Like we could take this gray and get it underneath here and save some time. Start making things pop a little bit. Yeah, a lot of times I just don't differentiate which layers I'm doing and stuff. I just don't. It's not my thing. All right. So like his skin and his sort of spectral part should not be the same color. So already we're getting into some new decisions about color in the piece. So I think that's about where I like his skin. It's got this kind of bluish thing. I don't even think it's got a bluish thing. I think it's down here somewhere. Yeah, that's nice. I'm digging that. So then we're getting toward a flesh tone, so that's a little too far, and it'll be right in here somewhere. There we go. Fine for now. Let's move on, kids. There we go. Kind of feeling that magic. And now that I've sort of broken the seal on doing color, I just kind of want to play with it. Oh yeah, you gotta have Skeletor chilling when you're doing this kind of thing. Critical. So now I'm just drawing on a layer underneath my line art. And I'm giving him some, elements of blooding. So in my world, Vecna does need blood to like reanimate and reassemble. He isn't just like a skeleton. He still has like some wet bits. So we're gonna capture that. Yeah, I mean, per that discussion about custom art and everything, it's absolutely not a plug for myself. But the internet has gotten us a little bit into a mindset where you can just go find anything that's going to fit what you're looking for on Google and you're done. And that is sort of true most of the time, but it also looks a little bit past one of the core things that's fun about art, which is that it's sort of now. It's recent. It's purpose built. And I think that using, even though Google is such a vast and limitless source of images, the way that the internet engineers are building the internet, it's leading us, a lot of us, to the same places. And so I see a reduction in diversity, both in what people find and what they create. And I think encouraging custom artwork is a nod to saying, let's get back to that diversity. Like Tithi Lodtong is a really great example of like an ultra brilliant artist who, because of Shutterstock and the way that they've paid into search engines, has become sort of an accidentally over-discovered artist. And so you see his work like everywhere because the way it comes up in search engines. I don't know about y'all, but that makes me feel a little weird, like being sort of led into things like that. So since I'm just playing with color, I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to grab his skin color, then bring it down and also warm it up just a bit like that. And let's just kind of play with some shades. I want my light to kind of be going left, but I'm not really worried about it, to be honest. So you guys can see I lose a little bit of like my blood shading. But that's the way I don't get distracted with like setting up more layers. Ho, Mean Gene Bo Green. Threw down with 100 bones. You got to be nuts. Thank you, Mean Gene. I appreciate that. A part of that will go into Phil Abundance, which is my local hunger relief charity. If you guys have any way to help out hungry people right now, they need y'all. They need y'all bad. If you have the option to help some people out, now is a There's a lot of people don't know where they're going to get their food next, and it doesn't take much to help them out. So thank you so much, Gene. I appreciate that. That'll go right into my charity fund, brother. Thank you. But yeah, find your local food charity and help them out. Usually it's about $1 a meal to help people out. So like you can make a big difference with not that much resources. We got to look out for each other, man. And even if it's, like, sometimes you're just doing like $5 a month with, a local food bank or whatever. But I'm telling you, if you figure it's $1 a meal and somebody doesn't know where they're going to eat, that $5 is no joke. He's a Mandalorian. He's a Mando man. He's a Mandalorian. All right. I think that's about enough of that song. So conversely to doing some shadows there, I want to throw down some highlights. And you know what? Really, without even meaning to, right now I'm inventing the look of this piece. I'm basically saying I'm going to use a smooth marker to do the shading. I'm doing this kind of ink and paint look. Like there's all kinds of decisions that I'm accidentally making right now that are going to extend to the piece, right? But I'm just not going to let my left brain worry about if those decisions are the right ones. Because that's what it wants to do right now. Well, what are you going to do? Like all the characters with the same style? Shouldn't you be using a cooler brush? Like, is that, you know what? Left brain, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Because I'm busy, baby. I'm doing that work. So just throwing in highlights, trying to visualize, not really a light source per se, but just, again, I just go on feel. I know that's not very educational. There's that Mando beat. My right brain digging the milky eye. Oh, right brain. Mando man. Hey, Mando. I got to watch out because some of y'all probably haven't seen last night's episode yet. I've already watched it twice. But I got to watch out because I don't want to do no spoilage. Ooh, it's so tasty. She's so tasty. She's such a dope little TV show. She's just so tasty. Mando man. He's a Mandalorian. All right, Vec. What up, V? So there's that look, guys. Feeling that? Pretty dope, right? Got my cardio squared away. Yeah, nice. I'm back on. We got a rowing machine, so I'm on that daily cardio. Got to keep that youth up, you know what I mean? All right, now let's take a stab at what some of his clothes might be like, and we're going to be, again, we're going to be making some decisions that are going to kind of reach into other parts of the piece, but I'm trying not to think about that. Like that's a nice color. I like having flesh and plant colors together. They always they play pretty nice. Get a bigger pen, save myself some time. I hope y'all can see and hear okay. Welcome to the stream. Ingrid Bernal here. I'm an old painter from a town called Barhome. Retired dwarven conscript in the Iridrum Army. Royal Order of Sundabar. All right. So it doesn't go to those. So let's get rid of it. Yeah, it's just that part. And then that like wraps around down here. So I think he's going to be doing like a green with gold and silver kind of thing. Almost like a Loki type jam going down. Kicking it. Stone cold chilling, I mean. So, whoa, how's that feel? Feels good. Get that armor motif to pop from earlier. And pretty soon we're going to return to the line layer. Stop doing all this crazy coloring. But not yet, baby. Soon ain't the same as now, baby. No, sir. All right. Cool. So I'm not liking how some of these shoulder pieces here became like blocks or buildings or something. I'm not digging it. So I'm going to kill these things. Something don't feel quite right up in there. Pop. You don't feel right. I don't like you. You're gone. Pop. There we go. So now let's get back onto this line layer because we got some building to do. I like how the absence of shoulder has weirdified him a little bit. So let's just stay with it and let's just keep playing it. Right? Those arms kind of need to come out up there though. So you kind of, we need a shape. Yeah, maybe there isn't even a tangent. It just pops right there. The little squiggle and then a pop. The squiggle is like his lats, which are kind of hidden because of the upward angle. And then you got to pop, pop. Put the egg in the bag. Pop, pop, pop. The egg into the bag. M-I-X, the flower into the sack. Here we go. Punch, kick. It's all in the mind. If you want to test me, I'm sure you'll find. Here we go. Here we go. Boulder shoulder, Vecna. Boulder shoulder, Vecna. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't like the boulder shoulders. They link to his body good, but he's like way too buff. I'm not digging it. Let's bring the shoulder in like with the curve going down. And then these little bumps for the lats. There we go. That's much better. And we can throw some little spines on the arms. That's fine. But yeah, boulder shoulders doesn't fit him too good. Oops, I can't move that. That's not good. All right, so we're starting to feel something here. Look at that. It's got a almost like a, like a pit, like a comic book cover kind of feeling, probably mostly because the coloring method I'm using is so basic. There's no gradients, there's no paint, opacity yet. There's no rounding or fading of any kind. So I'm in the realm of the insanely basic. He better be swole. No, man, he ain't yoked. Now this full of emaciated beak. He's emaciated with centuries of depravity. Cool, cool, cool. All right, now I'm feeling it here a little bit. I got like a bit of a big pen. Need to pull that down and get some control. A big pen is nice though; it'll give you some real graphical statements. But then, like all your work will want to get heavier and heavier line work. So you got to be careful with like a big ass pen. It's a one-way street. That hatching was awfully done. Let's get in closer and do that correctly. Hatching is a mood, B. For real. Okay, one idea here is like these sort of ribbon lines that maybe are pervading his collar. Not needed, not yet. We'll come back to it later. Oh yeah, I need a dark gray. I'm gonna grab the gray of the background, push it down, go back to our color piece, and we kind of get this some solidity, and then we'll start darkening it. Oh yeah, and then we'll throw some highlights on. Give him some hickeys. Good idea. Just a sec. I'm busy with some shit. Just a sec, y'all. I'm busy with some stuff, man. I hope you guys can see and hear okay. Hope everybody's like having a super chill Saturday night. You know, maybe kicking in the crib. Everybody's in the household these days. Got to stop that stinky old COVID. Hope everybody's loved ones are surviving this whole ordeal, staying healthy, whatnot. And if you're not, oof, I'm so sorry about that. It sucks. COVID sucks. That's what we call a non-controversial point of view. COVID blows, bros. All right, cool. So here's my. You wanted yoked, man. Abs. Let's ab him up. Let's ab him up. This is not the 4K Intuos. This is an old 23 HD Wacom. Very old piece of tech. All right, going back to my line layer now. And I'm just kind of getting a lot stronger because I want to just push this sort of down or back. There we go. And, you know, Sparth has this great piece of advice about like working from a zoom out point of view rather than zoomed in. Because when you zoom in, you get like a false impression of what the piece is going to feel like. You know, like players aren't looking at a wall like this. They're going to see this. And so it can be a little better to work from that point. Okay, you wanted hickeys. So if we get his skin tone and then go toward red, slightly saturated, we can do some hickeys here. See, it comes off as that color, so let's get a little more. Put one right, nice hickey there. There's a nice hickey. Here's one. And he's got one down here. There you go. There's them hickeys. Got a hickey on his eyebrow because Vecna getting crazy with his lich girlfriend. They're all about the eyebrows. You know how they are. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit of green highlighting done, and then I'm going to sort of move on. Okay, I'm just going to kind of chill right here for now as far as all this craziness. There we go. Let's get back to our line layer and let's get some work done. All right, we know that we have to do this whole thing and it's got to be finished. So part of it's spectral too. So you want to kind of, you know, break the solidity of this connection so that you remind that he doesn't have this portion of his arm. We got to remember that that's part of his character. So we break those connections, seal them off with lines, or make them manifold is another term for doing that. And so this is his kind of spectral arm. So for his spectral parts, we're going to do like this sort of tendril bone kind of jam. Some kind of supernatural John up here. There we go. See, and then there's the bone coming out of the arm. Cleaning up some slop. All right, here we go. So now we're just going to like lend detail to these bones and structures. Get some sort of gross, weird muscles that are still hanging on. Bones always have these anchor dimples in them where muscles formerly attached. Connectivity points. So you see, just real quick, with just a little bit of loving, you get a much more finished look to the ink, rather than that kind of little bit crazy that we had going on there. Just a little bit of love. Yeah, just a little bit of love. Yeah, see, that's kind of fun. That's kind of different. It's not something you see every day. He's like willing that portion of his body into being there. So I'm going to go a little bit outside my commissioner's description, which was that they're spectral. And I'm going to imagine it that he wills his flesh into staying there when it should be gone. Or like semi-materializes it, materializes it with his mind. There we go. There's something interesting too going on here where there's not like a defined garment boundary. Yeah, he got them laurels all right. So I'm going to sort of play with that rather than consider it a mistake. So what are you guys doing with the donations? You guys are nuts. Thank you, Steven. Y'all crazy. I'm trying to get rid of all monetizing on my videos, so bear with me while I do that somewhat tedious and slow task. But then thank you, you guys. That's great. And welcome, by the way, Steven. I can't quite see. There we go. Cheers to my brothers and sisters and all peoples from the north up in Canada. Ooh, see there, I just accidentally discovered a new convention for the piece, which is you take a line like that, so I'm going to repeat it, right? Oh, I love when that happens. You just discover a convention. And now I cut out 2 delete lines. Cool. Yeah, cool. And then that leads me right on to these sort of buckles, these buckle-like shapes in the middle here. And that's where our final color, or at least one of the final colors is going to come in, which we're going to do some semi-metallics here. I'll give you a quick terrible tutorial about how I do like a goldish metallic. So I lay down my sun color, my Sunny D kind of color, right? Then go way further than you normally would with a secondary color contrast, like way far up into yellow. Go there, boom! Like I'm talking, hit it. The contrast should be like painful. Look at that, it's just mega. Then grab pure white, get a team little pen, and just floop. And there you go. That's how I do that. So that you really catch it, and it's going to be like a centerpiece of the overall artwork. Okay. Hey, Old Z, how are people? It's crazy that you're just now finding me. That's amazing. I feel like I'm so old and irrelevant at this point. It's wonderful. I guess one great thing about our hobby is that it doesn't really become irrelevant that quickly. It's a little bit fad proof in some ways. In other ways, there's a little bit of fad going these days, but that's all right. That's all right. It's a big old playground, a room for everybody. You know that. Mando Man. He's a Mandalorian. Oh, that's dope, Drew. Happy lurking to you. We all got to lurk a little bit now and again. Ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of lurking. Okay, so this part of the body over here is flesh, not bone. So I'm going to have fun with that. Now, one little tutorial about doing colors is for some folks, it's a little easier to do the darkest color first. So that's what I'm doing here. This is my darkest flesh color. All right, so I'm going to get that down first. And I've got all my colors on the left there. So I'll just pop over to that, John, when I got to. Kind of mix this up. Okay, so my next color is here. Pop, grab it. And see that? There's my magical feeling of, ooh, they just got 3D on you there, bro, Cephas. Okay, then I got my highlight color. That right along the top there. With this little, and there, boom, bada boosh. And I grab my sort of universal blood and muscle color. into these little webbies, these grody little bits. You'd think that animals would have chewed them off by now, or a vengeful fighter would have struck away every scrap of muscle on Vecna's skeletal body, but no, I say no. All right. So that's kind of tight. Word up. All right, back to my line art layer. Let's finalize the line art for the hand. See, we're getting it. Ooh, that's always such a fun feeling. We're getting it. Can y'all peek that? That's what we got. We're probably going to be down here somewhere for the final image, but I'm working up here so I can see. I like to keep a very neutral gray, and that way you don't work against black or white. You kind of, work into a very versatile sort of setup. Well, this is Drunkards and Dragons, baby. You come to the right place. Since I don't really have any idea what I'm doing with all this stuff, my channel is less a channel as it is just a life. That is going the correct way. Okay, cool. This is almost like doing a mural, like a building, the way this aspect ratio is so crazy. Just vecnifying these fingers a little bit here. I don't think I'm going to get into claws or anything, but he's definitely got a skeletal jam going. And then there's some cleanup to do. What's he doing is, Max, the concept that I was given for the screen is that he's like a puppeteer behind 4 of the great sort of villains of D&D. So I'm doing him first, but I don't want him to be doing strings and stuff like a puppeteer because it's just going to make him too small in the image. I want him to be big and crazy. So it's funny because you're looking at this in a somewhat warped fashion. We're going to have figures right here, right? And they're going to be the sort of almost the sort of servants of Vecna. Might have to bring him down like here-ish to get the others to work. But that just like disappoints me. You know what I'm saying? There's no drunken and dragoning going on. Yes, you're looking at it. If you want a channel of someone who's, always drinking heavily and that's the entertainment you're looking for, that's not me. It is not healthy. Yeah, I agree. Vecna sort of does have a place in a great many campaigns, and for good reason. He's really fun, abstract enemy to play with that can still talk. So you still get that part that's fun out of him. Having a supreme villain that can't talk, it can be a little bit of a bummer. Even really having too many enemies in a row that don't like verbally interact with players can be a bit of a bummer. Like verbal interaction with the bad guys is sometimes like half the fun, or even better, like on Mandalorian, where people aren't necessarily good or evil. It's a constant negotiation. I love that part. I'm just a simple man making his way through the galaxy. Andrew Strickland, thanks, dude. Appreciate it, man. For real. That's my man S5 over there. All right. So this may not be what you expected as far as the hand goes, but I'm going to put a little bit of the creepy webbing in here. But I kind of wanted to keep it solid too, as a counterpoint to the other side, which is going to be like Spectral. So we got to watch out for accidental tangents. I just did it. That's where you accidentally imply that something is transparent by continuing a line. And I don't want to do that in this case, so I'll just fix that real quick. Okay, got some hickeys. The wear and tear on the hands from over the years, right? He's been doing motorcycle mechanicking on the side. Vecna's vintage. I don't think holes and stuff in him are really needed because remember, this is just our background. So we got to be very careful not to get too excited by it because it really is just going to serve as backdrop. We might not even wind up with black line art on this. We might wind up with like this color line work. Yeah, the head of Vecna is great. We did a thing where there are 4 heads, which was an old published puzzle that I always loved. There are 4 heads of Vecna, and they have different powers and behaviors. One of them talks all the time. Another one can tell you where things are. And it was all kinds of fun stuff. It was in this ice cave. Oh, man, that was a long time ago. All right. Thanks, you guys, for the tips/donations. Wow. It's 7 o'clock, so I'm gonna go a little more. I'll try to finish Vecna at least, and then we'll get a sense for what's behind Vecna. Like I'm gonna do sort of structure back there, and then we'll call it for tonight, and maybe pick it up another time. We shall see. Old Zine throwing out €5. Thank you, bro. How many pounds does that add up to? That's a little Brexit humor there. Man, remember when Brexit seemed like a big deal? Geez, that's before 2020 like unleashed its fury on the planet. I got some slop to clean up here. There we go. Cool. So we're getting toward a more finished line art on the arm. How long have you done art digitally? Forever. Digitally, I started probably on PageMaker on the Mac 2. That was 1993. No, wait, that was 1990. No, that was 1989. 1989 is when I started doing PageMaker on Mac 2. And by then I had been already drawing for 15 years. Because really drawing was one of the first things I did as a human. Back in the 70s. Oh, yeah. I was born in 89. That's awesome. That's great though, man. 89 was a kick-ass year, dude. You're a good vintage, bros. A good vintage. I don't really act my age so much. I'm a little bit. I'm an open-minded old dude, and I'm not even old. I'm young as hell. But yeah, I've really digital art and doing artwork has been my whole professional life. a lot of time too that had nothing to do with profession. It's just so fun. That's right, Script. Well, I want to grow up just enough to, be a good guy. Somebody people can count on and whatnot. Someone who's lives by their word, knows how to do some shit. You know what I mean? You want to grow up just enough to be awesome, but not so much that it's not awesome. And you quote me on that one. All right, cool. So there's that other arm looking mo final. And now probably the weirdest part, which is we need to do this sort of disintegrated hand. So I'm going to do 2 things. First, I'm going to get this materialized hand to get solid because I need to feel it. I need to feel the weight of it. to understand the piece. Do, 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 do. Hey, Mando, you got the best TV show that I ever seen. Yeah. Mando, every episode is better than the last. Oh, Mando. Before you came along, Star Wars was ass. Oh, Mando. The prequels were a pile of shit, especially because they accidentally focused on the villain that we already all hated. Oh, oh, Mando. The prequels actually became a masterclass in what not to do. Oh, Mando. Thank you for saving Star Wars, Mando. All right, there we go. I just sung my way through that. Let's get this universal red color I use. Got to remember to get some hickeys in there, too. Hey, Mando. Thank you for saving Star Wars, Jon Favreau. He finally gets it, baby. Oh, yeah. I never wanted to know shit about Vader. He's an asshole. Oh, Mando. But damn, if George Lucas didn't get it in his head that it was important to tell the story of Vader, we didn't give a fuck. Oh, Mando. Take us back to the good guys, baby. Mando. All right, cool. Hey, Mando. Oh, yeah. Great. So we're looking good. Not like finish, but we're looking to where we can feel the solidity of the piece. We can feel like what's going to be heavy, what's going to be light, what's going to sort of float, what's going to keep our eye engaged. And remember, we got to be careful because we're going to have characters all up in here. So you can't get too detailed. Got to just fight that urge to get all crazy detailed. These fingers are going to get skinny, B. Hold on to your bones, Mando. What's crazy is that his nickname is Mando, but there's no O in the middle of Mandalorian. But nobody wants to say, hey, Manda. Ugh, that's weird. What are you, Manda Bear? That's not cool. All right, anyway. Here's this skinny little thumb here, and it's got these weird spiny things because this hand isn't actually attached. It's not even real. I don't even think it has this palm piece here. Oh. Oh. Hey. I met a bounty hunter. His name was Mando. Oh, Mando. I'd have a hard time being in an army where the highest ranking dude is called Moff. Oh, Mando. I mean, Moff. What the fuck? Sounds like a Muppet, baby. Mando. There we go. So you see how that hand like isn't there, sort of? We're going to get rid of even more of it here like this. Yeah, there you're talking. There you're talking. There you're talking it up. On the Barry Gibb Talk Show. Okay, here we go. We're talking about politics. We're talking about crazy gold medallions. Look at this. This is just weird. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. Oh, yeah. See that scatter factor? You just got to let the scatter factor happen. Yeah. Almost like violence. Whoa, George, you're in here. You can't be here. Spoilers, bruh. You can't be. No. This is supposed to be a surprise. What up, my man? This project is so near and dear to my heart. I had to just stream it, especially when it's time to do Soth. Oh my God. Dream time. I love fucking Soth. In our longest campaign a few years back, the biggest villain that was never beaten. They never freaking beat him. They had to run every time. Even after the group eventually dissolved, we had never gotten back to beating Soth. Brutal. All right, going to get a bigger pen so I'm not coloring for the next hour. Here we go. I'm floating no Mando. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Rogue One, Erez, Vader is where he needs to be. He's just Vader, and that's fine. He's a villain. But they dedicated 3 entire movies to the story of an asshole who makes bad choices. It's just so misguided. And then they also made them badly. Yeah, they also suck. Yeah. Oh, man. There's some things, unfortunately, in this world that are just fun to kick, and that's just one of them. Everybody likes to kick them prequels. Man, I remember seeing the first prequel in the theater, and I was just like, what? I knew they were going to ruin it, but not on that level. Oh, yeah, Clone Wars is super dope. Absolutely. It goes without saying. Plus, you had Yoda right in there. They opened you up to all the cooler characters that only sort of the hardcore fans knew about. So that was like super cool in Clone Wars. Hey, remember that guy that you really hate from the original movies? Yeah, the main villain. Let's go back to his childhood. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, cool. So here's the hand of Vecna, the missing hand. Yeah, check that out. Heavy Metal 2000. So there's a little more stringiness in this other piece over here. So let's get some stringiness going. Like there are parts where he hasn't quite, he's trying to like stitch them together, like materialize them together. Look at that. A little bit of stringiness, guys. Like they could be little motes of air, or maybe they're like little protein strands as he forms himself, or attempts to, or has a disturbed memory of having a hand, and that memory is taking a sort of energy form. Oh, Mando, yeah. Is a Mandalorian. Da, 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 da. He's a Mandalorian. Okay. Mando, man. Okay, his eye is also missing. So we're going to play. Let's play, baby. Woo! Look at that. Boom. We're just going to cut it out. This whole socket. Gonzo. So let's get rid of the color first. Go in here, get rid of some of these little parts and pieces. We're just going to start playing. You guys want to play around a little bit? You know, no big deal. Beer and pretzels, as they say. He's a Mandalorian. Mando, man. He's a Mandalorian. I'm so sorry that you guys are having to listen to that. What the fuck? That is some annoying shit. Okay, so this crown piece is sort of like losing its grip too. It's like part of the chaos. And then underneath we have this gray color, which for right now is kind of a reference, really, for what the spectrality will look like. That's a word. It's totally not a word. Spectrality. Yes. So we're going to start thinking of it a little bit more spectral. Oh yeah, Wolf and Cub is the inspiration for it. I mean, that's totally what the show is. I don't even know if you could say it's an inspiration. It just is Wolf and Cub. It doesn't quite have the sense of minimalism that Kurosawa has. But I think that's a good thing, honestly. I'm not sure there's anything that Mando is doing wrong. All right. Look at that. Now, to get some spectrality going, we're on the color layer. Let's get into some sort of cyan type colors. Maybe kind of come in here somewhere. Mando, man. That's too blue. So chill on my saturation. There we go. Now this doesn't need to be much. Remember, he is a background character. Okay, only the spectral pieces get it. It's just this little suggestion here, and then we'll also like throw down like maybe a little. See how this is going to treat us. So let's use a tool for the first time. Let's see how this feels. Need a brighter color for that to work, like something up here. All right, is that going to be something that we're going to like how that feels? And the answer is yes. But I can't just do it all over. I can only do it where the spectral pieces are, right? So I'll throw a little bit in there. Throw a little bit on here. On here. There you go. That's all there is to it. And that is it. What I like about Star Wars is each planet feels like just a new village. Well, that's exactly what I love about Star Wars. That's my favorite part. If you tried to deal with what the scale of what actually like finding someone on a planet would be, that would make a terrible show. Like I love finding one person in one little temple on an entire planet. I think that's the funnest part. Is it realistic? Absolutely not. But I prefer villages to cities personally, especially as a storyteller. Yada-da, yada-da, yada-da-da-da. Yada-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I hope that Grogu becomes a Mandalorian. Cool. So I've been going, what, hour and a half or something here? Okay, so let's get a sense. Let's save that. Now let's get a sense of a backdrop. Can we do that, please? All right, so it's going to be something like this. And here I'm just sort of playing on the energy of it, right? I don't want to get my tangents messed up with that hand. So something more like that. So that's pretty good. Not quite on the money. I'm going to use some tools to find my lines. Kind of want to get that outer shape in there. Don't want to tangle with that. So again, just using nudging and stuff because sometimes it can give you a really precise result rather than freestyling over and over. Okay, so I'm just going to take that. And just like the hand, I'm going to start with a mirror, but it won't wind up being a mirror. Like this. This also, I think mirroring or twinning, as some people call it, can give you a feeling of like something epic happening, something Naruto happening when you see symmetry in nature like that. Like, you know, a sun will often exhibit that behavior. You'll see like a symmetrical or mirrored sunburst shape. And it means like, whoa, dude, it's so bright and so symmetrical. It's so weird and so symmetrical, bruh. Okay, so to stop doing those annoying things, let's get a little bit darker tone in the background and start to feel this shape out. Spectral skeleton wings. That is I don't think that fits Vecna very good. He doesn't have wings. But we might get into like a cape or something right behind him or something. We're gonna work our way into it. This I might want to move, so nah, fuck it. I'll just do it on the background. I just hate messing with layers. I just want to get started and work. And then yes, I regret it later. Of course I do. When I have to adjust things. But I'd rather catch the energy than mitigate future error. Okay, there's that. I think we want a shadow here behind the head like that because that puts him in there. That makes him fully ensconced. And then you got to start wondering, like, where am I at? Can I go down here? Can I go up here? And then you've got to start wondering, like, maybe there's some fundamental color going on in this piece. And then I'm like, whoa, this is some Thundercats shit. Fucking Mum Ra, baby. Woo! Look at that. Look at them Christmas colors. Look at that purple up in there. Okay, purple is a fun one. It's like an arcane color. But still, I can't help but seeing like this green color is his power color. There we go. Feeling good in the neighborhood, Wilson. A little less color. Don't fight for it, baby. There we go. Key aspect of running a Lich boss, dude, it's really understanding how to utilize spells and magic to super deadly effect. Because if you really can handle like a 15th level caster in a combat encounter with players, I salute you. It is not easy. In my opinion, anybody who says that's easy is kind of exaggerating a little bit. It's tough to bring like, more than a dozen powerful spells to bear on players while using defensive capabilities. But that's what you got to do if you want a real simulation of Vecna. I'm looking at this. My complaint about Mando is that the following of the Empire has a bad effect. I don't know if that's really that much implied. I think the universe is definitely better off without the Empire and Mandalorian. It's just a smaller, more provincial universe or galaxy. But I don't think anybody's saying like, gee, I wish the Empire would come back. I don't get that vibe from it. Man, remember the good old days when the Empire was crushing us under their iron boot? That was so cool. Okay, I don't need to add more color into my saturation, so I just need a closer to white and then give this some kapow. Give it a little more kapow. It's probably a little too much. And then I'm going to sort of pull this out. So what you can do is you can get a color inside here, and then the color will cross its fade to other colors, and this can create some fun effects. So you see that it starts when I'm coloring here, it's invisible. And then as I go into this other color, it becomes visible, and that can be a very fun trick to play. It can let you sort of make things appear without doing a lot of like blending and other things. Just the joys of Photoshop. Put on display here on Runehammer, Drunks and Dragons. Just playing D&D like big old badasses up in here, like we're grown-ups and whatnot. In my case, D&D has always been synonymous with doing art. My favorite part of D&D was drawing people's characters. One of the things that drew me so powerfully to it is that it was a venue where I could hang out with other people and it wasn't weird for me to be drawing the whole time. Well, okay, it's a little weird, but you're weird. Dad, you're weird. Thank you, son. Dad? Yes, my boy. Why are you so weird? Did I accidentally create a plant spell? I think I did. Let's see if we can not do that. backing up, backing up, backing up, backing. It's a lot of pen strokes. I won't be able to back up that far. Ooh, I was able to. Look at me go. Okay, we're back here. And I do want my pop. Cool. So I know in my gut that this wants to work. I think I'm just being too uptight and too nitpicky about it. But you know, I keep getting a plant effect and I don't want that. So I'm going to back off. And you know, I might just be able to freaking stop before I like accidentally create a plant look. Like these lines might not be needed. Yeah, that's part of my problem. I don't want them lines. I want that to just be color back there. So I'm going to do a thing that will earn me scorn in some environments. I'm going to put that line work right into my base work. And then I'm just going to start playing with it like that. I'm just going to relax a little bit. I'm getting too tense with this dumb background. I like wanting it to be something it ain't. Eating, I mean. All right. Because I also want to bring in some of these little blue spectral colors like I did right here, and I want to be able to do it with freedom and impunity. See how much freedom that gives me? Just like the style just loosens up so much when I relax with that line art. Now I can get more into this like spectral factor. Tonight on Spectral Factor, we're going inside the East Central City prison to discover ghosts that are nearly asleep. We order a sandwich and don't get it for half an hour here on Spectre Hunters. I don't know what's wrong with me. But it's not nothing. So see there, I can kind of play with that. Like it's creating these sort of light bounces from his spectral bits in the form of dots. Hello. I see you've taken the form of specks and tropes. All right. Looking good. Looking real cool. I'm digging it. He does need some more arcane elements. And so let's do that to finish up the stream tonight. We're going to wind our way up to 8 o'clock here on the Eastern Coast in the great city of Philly, PA. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let's arcanify this bugger, shall we? Now, I've always believed that one of the most powerful forms of the arcane is the use of glyphs and other magical shapes imbued onto the surface of the thing they are supposed to empower. So let's play. Let's play a little bit. As what's his name? What's the guy in Desperado? What's his name? Antonio Banderas. As Antonio Banderas would say, let's play. Let's just play a little bit. He's got this like crazy lopsided spiral thing going on the head here. Then I grab a neighboring color when I'm doing this kind of work, and I kind of will break my lines here and there, or highlight, transfer them into highlights. And this is a good way to just sort of stitch your black line work onto the face of your character. If you're itching like wrinkles or tattoos or any of these kind of things, you just sort of trace and break your work a little bit with the native colors of that area, so that that line like lives in there now, rather than just being on top. Plus, it's going to give you a chance to get in there and do some little stuff. See that? Like it forms an actual sort of seam in the face. So we'll put like these little shadows on these seams like this. But don't think of it as a shadow, because that's going to lock your brain up and wonder if you're doing the lighting right. So it's not a shadow. It's just going back and drawing with the native color. Right next to your new little black lines that you've done. Yeah, dope. Now we need some magical glyphs that are descending the chin, like an arcane beard. There's some great, great tribal peoples out there in the world who have these cool chin tattoos. They're so sick. Okay, now so we've got some markings here on the chin, and now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to like use shading of nearby colors to put the markings into the body, like this. See how there's a little bit of magic that happens there? It's always fun. Then you get a real bright highlight color from up here somewhere. Maybe even this color. So that light's kind of coming off those little wrinkles, little depressions. And gives you a chance to go back, do a little bit of detail work. Yeah, see now that's something to watch. Too swirly. There's no such thing as too swirly, man. You can never dance too hard. Swirly isn't necessarily good either. Swirly can also be evil, like spirals are generally evil. Right? I guess druids use spirals too for good. I definitely see spirals as like abominations, like Cthulhu style spirals. What the fuck am I talking about? You're going to put the Samo flange on the thing. Okay. I'm going to get a little bit of detail in this eye here. All right, Samo flange. A little bit more red in the upper bridge of the nose where you're looking into the hole, into the nose hole. There we go. What the fuck is a Samo flange? Ha, 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 ha. That must have been a great day for that. All right, now I also need some sharpness on this crown. Like it's just not quite evil enough, so I'm going to go in here. Man, what a difference that makes. So funny how our brains have these silly little hardwired expectations for what is a threat and what isn't. So eventually you want the whole piece to look like that. So if George is still on the stream, eventually you'll want the whole piece to kind of be at these levels as far as ink work and a little bit of detail in the color and so on and so forth. Get a pretty cool feel for it there. Let's cut in some more glyphs on the throat, which really is one of Vecna's most powerful parts. These inhuman bitonal throat magical words that he can say that like mortals would have difficulty with. I imagine something like that going on down here. One of my favorite things in D&D is trying to like pronounce spell wordage during play. Inictum Florida. That means teleport to Florida. Okay, here we go. Doing these highlights, just like I said. So we're like integrating some of the markings into the skin, and we get our darker color. And you're going to have mixed results, and just like let it flow. Sometimes it's going to work great. Sometimes it's going to be too subtle. Just don't fight it. Cool. Look at that. Oh, I like that sort of stray shadow down there that's kind of mucking up the design. This line is not correct right here, so that just needs to go. And in return, fix up this hickey. Hey, this is Schwartz and Schwartz. We're doing hickey repair over here. Hickey repair only for 36 years. 36 years I've been doing hickey repair. You're a lightweight. You don't know squat about hickey repair. Let me tell you that much. You can believe this guy weird? Freaking says he's into hickey repair. All right. Check it out. Digging it. Don't know about y'all, but I'm definitely feeling that. So here comes like a nice poppy highlight right here. She's one of my favorite anchor people on CNN is Poppy Highlight. There we go. Then I think all of the motif work might deserve this kind of green. Well, no, here, let's follow what we have so far. We do have some nice blobs. Let's play on these blobs. Add a couple there. And there we go. That's all it would be. Oh, yeah, that's cooler. Okay, great. Happy day, Kalu Kalay. Let's all go to the bathroom. Let's all go to the bathroom. Let's all go to the bathroom and have ourselves a snack. Okay. Let's get this hand to be more arcane. Starting that way. Let's all go to the bathroom. Let's all go to the bathroom. Let's all head to the bathroom and make ourselves a snack. I don't want to get too focused on this hand. He's drawn a little too much attention with this perspective here. So I'm going to wipe that out and replace it with some of this wrinkle technique like in the face, because the black pulls him back and the bright pushes him forward. We don't want him to go forward because remember, we got all these other characters to put in front. So we're going to kind of play this little arcane marking game. Trying to get not to get too distracting. He's effectively background music. Just refining some of these shapes so they look more complete by giving them a little small pen treatment. That's definitely a pro tip, is big pens kind of look like your sketch and small pens tend to look like you're finishing your work. That, of course, is not true for all styles, but it's not a bad rule of thumb. You know, and you don't want all your lines to look like finish lines because it becomes like a burden on the eye. You want some fun slop that shows human energy in there. Yeah, Benny, this is so big because it's a, yeah. This is totally like a Doctor Strange kind of feel. Oh, yeah, and I loved what they did with him in the movie. They did a great job with glyphs and stuff. Cool, man. Check that out. I hope you're digging it, George. You're getting to see your whole thing come alive right before your eyes there. Oh, Skeletor? Yeah, I mean, he's right over there. He's always hanging out with me. Me and him are kind of homies. You know, we're kind of close. I try not to name drop or anything, but me and Skeletor go way back. There, that balanced that out. He does look a little not as aggressive as he could. Let's do a quick experiment. No, I like it how he is. I don't want to make him scream. Okay, so what we're going to do to wrap it up is we're going to get ready for the next step, which is adding the other monsters. To do that, I'm going to grab this background. I'm going to put it on top of Vecna. Look at that. He's toast. He's gone. Scale it up, which, yes, is going to ruin its resolution a little bit. Put it right here. Hell, we'll flip it horizontal just to be weird. Okay. And then this, we're going to keep for later, but it's like an opacity screen like this. And this will help me push him as far or not as far in the background as I need to. The only color that won't work when you're doing a screen like this is black. So get rid of your black, just paint it out. And two, you want to be careful with blobs because they'll catch the eye. So to keep the sort of mirror factor alive and well. Like that. These are going to catch the eye a little bit too much. But see, I'm going to get these nice little green variations because I'm doing all this by hand instead of using tools. And that's going to show up in the piece. There we go. We're going to add dots our own way later. So we're going to just keep it. So later, we'll be like going like that. Sorry, I know you guys are like seeing, that must be a small percentage of your screen. So like that, you know, so what we'll do is we'll use this screen to sort of hide him. But not hide him, it's just to make sure that our foreground characters are popping like hella. Nobody says hella in Philly, I don't know why. When I'm alone in my room, it's a little easier. Okay, there we go. Something like that is probably going to be the final look because we'll have the other stuff in the foreground. But for now, we can just hide that layer and set it aside for later. Hey, Walking, thanks, man. Yeah, digging it. So I know that you guys are looking at this whole area here, so that isn't a huge part of your screen, but that aspect ratio makes it, to look at the whole thing, I need to make it pretty small, but there it is. That is my start. We're coming up on 8 o'clock. You can't even draw, you boob. Yeah, dope. So let's finish it up here. I'm going to just take a screen grab of this and post it on freaking Instagram, I guess. By the way, that's a little side note, housekeeping. I've been making an effort to use Instagram a lot less, or a lot more, and Facebook a lot less. So if y'all try to sort of keep up with the stuff that I do, get on Hankering Furnail on Instagram, and that's where I've been putting a lot of my artwork. I'm going to crop it a little bit over here. Like that. There we go. No, I'm not. It's not quite right. He's got to come down. No, he can't because he's built. So, And I'm going to do it like this. There we go. That's going to work. Got it. See the little guy appeared down on the bottom right? That's my schnozzle. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Can I go over to... So that's what you guys have been watching. Yeah, the color is terrible on it. You probably can't see anything. Write a letter to YouTube. Tell them to put screen sharing into their Go Live functionality. My name's Ingrid Bernal. You've been watching Drunken and Dragons here on Runehammer. Thanks for chilling out. Keep an eye on my stuff to see this piece come together, and I'll post it as it gets finished and everything. Thank you big time to George Teray for the commission. I'll see you guys on that old internet. Mando man. He's a Mandalorian. Till next time, you guys. Peace. Take care of one another.